Blessings and peace, and welcome to the Ice Turner Experience. In this early morning, I would say late night, I was just going through some passages and going over some stuff. And it's funny because, usually when you look at a book or you look at, a particular verse in the good old book, you tend to look at it differently each time. Although the words are exactly the same, but your lens is always different. It's almost keen, especially when certain things have come to your own awareness and your own ability to comprehend exactly what that is. Because it's one thing to be in change or to know change, and it's another thing to be in the awareness of change. Whenever I think of the narrative of Job, that's the first thing that actually comes to mind is ascension. Especially when the scripture mentions the east, which is indicating the sun, which always rises in the east, and is symbolic of the incarnation of the soul that dies in the bowels of the earth, the physical plane, and rises again to a higher sense of self or sense of consciousness. So in order for that cycle to take precedence, an adversary, in this case, Satan, our ego, must be present to stir up the spiritual evolutionary process. So why do you think Satan and the tree of knowledge of good and evil were in the paradise with Adam and Eve? Now remember the Garden of Eden being in the east? See, once you get a certain gist on how things are placed based on the symbology, and then you tie it together with revelation, you can clearly see that our actions, thoughts, and deeds must be purified by our higher nature before they can become manifested as wisdom and truth. So ascension or evolution is only possible through spiritual conditioning, where one comes to operate under the direction of the higher self. And as we see, Job is resurrecting into a higher plane of consciousness by the end of the story. See, Yah know exactly where Satan had been and what he had been doing. Remember our ego? So he knows where our ego has been and what it's been doing. Just like when he asks Adam or Atom, where art thou? Like I said before, Satan represents the ego, edging God out. And that's also an indicator whenever we're edging God out that we're operating from the left side of our mind through our ego, our vanity, and emotions, and which represents the anti-Christos, the carnal nature. And that leads us away from God. The 666 is everything directed from the left, the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So we need to go into the Garden of Eden, east, the right hemisphere, the right frame of mind. In our meditation, we're the tree of life, the knowledge of self, the branches, the wisdom of self-awareness, the roots, the understanding of self-manifestation, the fruit, and shut down the thought and the stillness of our meditation in order to activate that tree of life, that Christos inside of us. See, that 666 is symbolic to the lower half or the aspect of the higher nine, the consciousness. Whilst the 144,000 stands for the higher or spiritual aspect of our consciousness. You think about it. 6 plus 6 plus 6 equals 9. 1 plus 4 equals 9. 6 plus 6 plus 144 equals 810 equals 9. Basic numerology. So who will ascend into the mountain of God? Those with clean hands and a pure heart. So what is the mountain symbolic to? The mountain is symbolic to the spiritual high point and is connected with spiritual states and meditation through visions, the third eye. And the third eye is the highest point in us. We just have to develop the stillness within ourselves to access that power. In part 2, we will expound a little bit more on the components, on what exactly is the lower part, our left brain. I hope that you actually enjoyed this experience. This is actually, we're going to walk you through this smoothly. And what I mean by what I'm saying is that I'm in full operation of the God